The following is a paid presentation for United Healthcare. Hello, and thank you for joining us for this special report, A New Age. My name is Rick Capcella. I'll be your host over the next half hour as we look at the aging of America and its impact on the healthcare system. Maybe it's your parents moving into the Medicare age. Maybe you're there already yourself. You know, there was a time when 65 was about retirement and rocking chairs. Today, it's more like redefinition. In the half hour ahead, we're going to be introducing you to a few folks deep in the thick of it, crossing in or having just crossed into that new age of seniority. Jeff and Cindy Goldman, long of Detroit, Michigan, now in Florida, are on either side of 65, working to understand their healthcare options in real time. At the same time, Pamela Curry in Texas is a good decade away from all of that herself. But like so many Americans, she's managing her father's health care as he's begun to deal with dementia a half continent away. It is a struggle, but there are solutions she has found that are improving not just her father's life, but her own. And before we go, we have to introduce you to Lou Paul, a card-playing, no-holds-barred octogenarian who has aged and evolved right along with America's healthcare system. What they're all dealing with is natural aging, living older and longer than we ever have before. Did you know 2 of every 3 people who've ever lived over the age of 65 on this planet are alive today? Think about that for a minute. There aren't just more of them, they represent a larger and larger share of the population. In the US, the percentage of people 65 and over has more than tripled in about the last century. The fastest growing group, 85 and older. And just look at the pace of increase. In the year 2000, there were 35 million Americans, 65 and older. In 2010, 40 million. By 2020, 55 million. And by 2030, we'll have 72 million Americans, 65 and older. Their numbers will double in just 30 years. This is a global phenomenon, by the way, one the United Nations says is, quote, without parallel in the history of humanity. So you combine what's happening here with the reality of healthcare, and you really have to start paying attention because the older we get, the more health conditions we have to manage. And the longer we live, the more likely those conditions become chronic. Anticipating that, managing that, becomes a very big deal. When we come back, we'll introduce you to Jeff and Cindy, figuring out healthcare in the Medicare age for the first time in real time. For more information, log on to uhcnewage.com, where you'll find extended interviews, in-depth articles, and a link to learn which United Healthcare Medicare plan may be best for you.
When we grew up in the 70s, that was great. That was the greatest period.
So much happening then.
Music, the poetry, the literature, you know, the Summer of Love in '68 and Woodstock.
We had the best young years.
Jeff and Cindy Goldman are reliving some of their golden years in their newfound golden age of retirement. And hanging on with their friends to some of the great old vestiges of the good old days.
It's my friend Mike. Welcome to the Old Guys Club. This is what we do in our free time. Fiddle around with old cars. Keep your wife out of your head.
Retired in Florida, old-time cars is one of the things that keeps them going.
Get a hobby.
Yeah, I think that's
Get a
important.
hobby. I told that to my brother,
Yeah.
but he won't get a hobby. He
Yeah.
likes cutting the grass. That ain't a hobby.
Jeff and Cindy moved to America's quintessential retirement state in a quintessential neighborhood. They came here from Michigan a few years back to take care of his mother, and they never went home.
We never dreamed of Florida. Why would we want to come to Florida? But now that we're down here, it's paradise as far as we go, and everyone that lives in this neighborhood thinks the same way.
It's been a few years since his mother passed away. It wasn't long after that Jeff and Cindy began to have a deeper appreciation for their own mortality, their own ramped-up healthcare needs. They didn't really see that coming.
You know, everything was going on smoothly, and age 60, like a plane crash. Just all kinds of things seemed to happen right at that time.
For Cindy, it started with a blood clot that affected her vision. Then she broke her foot and arthritis set in. And for Jeff, it's chronic high blood pressure, now taking his pills every day. They were just over 60, and healthcare was becoming a very big deal.
So I would say health probably occupies, to put it in a percentage, 15–20% of our thoughts are always on healthcare. You just can't get away from it. You're constantly reminded one way or another.
But with healthcare consuming a greater share of their income today than it ever did before, they know managing their health is the best thing they can do to manage their health costs. Like most of America, they just never had to do that before.
It sounds kind of funny, but the companies I worked for managed my health care. It was really a no-brainer. They were policies, you paid your monthly premium, or they deducted it from your salary. You went to the doctor. As soon as you turned 65, you're managing your own health care. Nothing in your training to help you do that.
They say the government did a great job of queuing them up for Medicare, and then the barrage of mail started coming. They did their research, they investigated companies and rates, but in the end, they called an independent insurance agent to help them out.
I feel privileged that I work with Medicare. I think I'm doing a real service for people because it is their health. What's more important than their health?
Peter Gratzen is the agent they found specializing in Medicare coverage.
Ultimately, left the decision up to us, and for me, it came down to cost. But my particular conditions and the doctor that I needed and the medications that I needed were covered under the United Healthcare Advantage plan.
Gratzen says he sells policies from many different companies, but his clients choose United Healthcare most of the time.
I like the fact that they're a very large company, and with the changes going on with healthcare today, you don't know necessarily who's going to be around next year.
Jeff and Cindy have seen others who've made the wrong choices in healthcare end up paying too much. Fear, even related to the economy and their investments, has also kept them on their toes. And there was a period before Cindy hit 65 when she had no insurance at all. What period of time were you uninsured?
Let's see, it was about a 2-year period between 2010 and now.
So that was a little bit harrowing.
Yeah, it was tough.
Among the biggest epiphanies for Jeff and Cindy was to learn that even within Medicare, there can be tremendous price variations for what is largely the same thing, depending on the kind of program you choose. Their best advice, pick up the phone or get online. Ask an expert.
You shouldn't be embarrassed to do it, swallow some pride and look to others to help you.
1 in 4 Americans say they have no retirement savings at all. 1 in 3 say their financial assets have not recovered from the downturn in the economy. And fewer than half of all Americans say they feel financially secure.
I don't know if you can ever feel financially secure. May have been true 10 years ago, may have even been true 5 years ago. I don't think it's true today.
First you get $1 million.
Yeah.
How to be a millionaire.
Steve Martin, How to Become a Millionaire. First you get $1 million.
Jeff and Cindy just showed up here one day in retirement on Medicare.
We can see that we're still part of a significant generation, and our generation has always shaped things for the future because of the numbers of people. But it's just amazing to look back and say, that was
we're the ones that are calling shots right now in the world is kind of scary.
Brace yourself, America. Aging into Medicare, the boomers, are about to make history again. For more information, log on to uhcnewage.com, where you'll find extended interviews, in-depth articles, and a link to learn which United Healthcare Medicare plan may be best for you. When we come back, it's one thing to take care of yourself in retirement, but what about caring for an aging parent far away? Texas and its cattle, its hot, arid landscape, is about as far from the reality of northern Michigan as one might imagine. But in Pamela Curry's head, they share a lot of the same space. Like so many 50-somethings in America today, she's juggling her life and career in one place with her husband while managing the complicated health conditions of an aging parent far away. Her father is in Michigan. She is in Texas.
It's bad. I feel like when I'm here that I'm not handling that well. And when I'm up there, I feel like I don't handle work well. And it's kind of like wherever I am, then that's what's at the forefront. But I try to juggle both of them.
Her father was a longtime journalist, the owner of a couple newspapers in northern Michigan. He has in-home health aides caring for him now. At 78 years old, after cancer and a couple of bad falls, it became obvious he was aging very quickly. Pamela's been flying back and forth from Texas to Michigan almost monthly. The hardest part for Pamela has been trying to find help for him when she's not here. Truth is, he really doesn't want any.
At first, we had people here all the time, but
That was ridiculous.
yes, so that didn't work. And so
About one day.
I know.
Her father, twice married, twice divorced, has made it pretty clear he'd rather the home health aides just leave him alone.
This lady was all good intentions, but not for me.
And so then we compromised at doing it for a little while, and then I came back.
And we don't always agree to it.
Nope, but we talk about it, right?
Discuss it.
We discuss it.
Then I win.
You can't just totally take away his power.
Right.
And so he's got to be able to, be part of the decision, not just somebody who sits back and waits for everyone to make decisions for him, because obviously that wouldn't work.
What do you fear about him being on his own up here?
I worry that he's going to get hurt, but I also know that he would hate having someone here 24 hours a day. And as having someone here 24 hours a day isn't a guarantee he's not going to get hurt. I guess I worry about whether I'm making the right decisions. And it's hard.
It's one thing to try and manage a parent's health care from a half-continent away, just given all the guilt and the difficulty that comes with that. But one of the big issues Pamela will be dealing with here before long is how long she can continue to allow her father to be here at his longtime home in the woods on his own. When does his independence become too much of a risk for him or her? And when, if ever, does she make that decision for him?
Okay, Pamela, so this is our standard studio apartment.
Right now, she's investigating options for him on his behalf without his cooperation.
I mean, how do families get them even in here to look?
Pamela would like him to consider moving to an assisted living center, but he won't even talk about it right now. For the moment, there's this compromise, part-time, in-home health care, paid for by her father's insurance. But it's an employee benefit for Pamela through United Healthcare that's helping her figure this all out. They are helping her understand the options and manage his care better.
It's kind of like my job is to be Dad's backup. And I kind of feel like they're my backup. They're kind of like, there's someone else who's on my team. And we're all on Dad's team. We're all focusing on what's best for him. But it's kind of like someone who's there for me, to help me get through whatever might come.
At this point, it's all research for the possibility that her father will come to need a higher degree of care. To hear her tell the story, United Healthcare has been teaching her a lot.
I mean, do you really want to go searching for home health agencies on the internet? I mean, is that what you really want to do? No, this is somebody who's going to be taking care of your father. And so they helped identify different agencies and assisted living facilities and nursing homes and all kinds of different things. You know, it'd be nice if they had like a book and this is what you do. But it's not the same for everybody. What works for one person isn't going to work for somebody else. So you just have to figure it out as you go. I mean, that's probably my biggest thing. I'm afraid I'm going to make a mistake.
Pamela believes her partnership with United Healthcare is providing her the education and the confidence she needs to go forward. When we come back, you'll meet Lou Paul. She helped sign her parents onto Medicare back in the 60s, and now, through her kids, finds there's still a lot more to learn. For more information, log on to uhcnewage.com, where you'll find extended interviews, in-depth articles, and a link to learn which United Healthcare Medicare plan may be best for you. It's the third Monday of the month, in the middle of Minnesota.
I don't know if you've ever heard of the game 500. And years ago when we played this, you always got prizes. But you know, you get to an age like us, you got enough stuff to get rid of in your house, much less. So now we give cash.
Lou Paul and her friends are settling in for an afternoon of cards.
Nobody's playing for blood. We're all just playing for fun. Aren't we?
Yes, ma'am. If you say so, ma'am.
The first prize gets $3.
My club was 55 years ago, been playing with them ever since, but not the same people.
Not the same people, but we're
55 years this card club has been going at it. The ones who are left keep each other going. Lou's the baby in the group at 81. Her family believes her connection to her community, staying active and engaged, and having the same doctor over 30 years are as much the keys to her longevity as genetics.
A lot of people talk about small-town community health. It may not be the most advanced from a scientific perspective that you may get in a major university hospital, but there is something about that local relationship and that local set of caring individuals that I think really makes a difference in people's lives.
My doctor, when I went for my last physical, we were talking, and he's very nice to sit and talk with. And I was talking about my mother dying at 97, and he says, you know what? I think you're going to beat your mother. So I don't think so.
But you didn't think you'd get here either.
No.
She finds herself, like many women in America, years after the kids are gone, still a primary care provider in her family. Now it's for just herself and her husband, Norm.
I take care of him very well, I think, and I enjoy doing it. I'm not complaining about it at all, but I have to do a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4,
She double and triple counts the pills that help keep her and her husband going.
Well, he's got 13 pills in the morning and 6 at night. And he counts them, like I say, every morning, so make sure that I didn't goof up on one. He lets me know if I do. So you won't take it tonight now.
On a walk recently with her son Tom, she was talking about the first time they had insurance as a family, how she helped get her parents signed up for a new thing they called Medicare. And much as she helped her parents in later life, her children now help her.
I went to school to become a pharmacist, so I have the medical background and worked as a pharmacist for maybe 10 years. So I often am the resource for what does this drug do? Are there alternatives?
Tom knows that as people age in this country, not only do they develop chronic disease, but the longer they live, the more chronic conditions they have to manage. He's seen it with his mother and his father, the diligence they have to pay managing care. But Tom also sees this now on more of a national scale. For 20 years, he's been working at United Healthcare as a pharmacist, then a chief of operations. He became CEO of United's Medicare and Retirement Division, and today he's stepping into the role of Chief Consumer Officer at United Healthcare, one of the largest health insurance companies in the world. He says his mission here is personal.
How I've encouraged people to look at it and how I look at it myself is to imagine that when you're interfacing with someone you may not know, it's likely that your aunt, uncle, parent are dealing with the exact same issue. And it helps to put a personal face on it. It helps to make it real and personal so that you're dealing with one individual, not thousands or millions of individuals at a time.
At United Healthcare, he's gone so far as to start circulating frames for the employees to hold those photos. It's about being connected to the why of what they're doing.
If I have that picture on my desk and I'm dealing with someone who I don't even know, I can understand what they're going through and I can understand how important that relationship is, and it makes a world of difference.
United Healthcare processes tens of billions of transactions every year. But Tom Paul will tell you every one of them has to start with a personal connection to the person at the other end of the line.
It's because it's about a person's health. It's about a person's life. And it's a different process than selling something in a box on a shelf.
He applies this same personal approach to helping his mother and United Healthcare's customers wade through all the information that's out there on healthcare, and Medicare in particular.
We have a fortunate relationship, in fact, that she has a direct line into the company who provides her health insurance. Many people don't have that. And it's really my job in the most basic sort of way to gain the trust of the consumers that we serve on a day-to-day basis, and then be able to help them work through each of these issues. Be a guide to them so that as they're dealing with issues, we're no longer what they may perceive as the roadblock, but we're now actually the trusted advisor.
Tom and his colleagues here know a lot about how healthcare works. With so many transactions taking place every year, they know which types of care and treatment options have been most effective. They're using vast amounts of data to help improve the quality of care.
It will be my job to personalize that and make it about a one-on-one interaction. It will be our job as an organization to make sure that we take the leverage and the scale that we bring, the efficiency that we bring, and the science that we bring, so that when someone does want to make a personal decision, we'll bring all those resources to bear to help that one individual.
We gotta go back home to our house and do everything over because I forgot to put my earrings in today.
At United Healthcare, they're working to help all customers as if they were family. Every transaction personal. For more information, log on to uhcnewage.com, where you'll find extended interviews, in-depth articles, and a link to learn which United Healthcare Medicare plan may be best for you. When we come back, a few final thoughts on this new age and what you can do to make the most of it. Welcome back. I hope you've gotten some new perspective in the last half hour for just what's happening with the aging of America. It is a new age in this country and all over the world, really. The boomers are already aging into Medicare at the rate of 10,000 people a day. And the truth is today, once you make it to 65, on average, you're going to live about 20 years longer, another generation. We've never seen anything like it. I'm Rick Capcella. Thank you for joining us.